Okay, Assalamualaikum. Hi and good afternoon, everyone. Okay, in this video, we're going to look into chapter 5, which is the logical functions and selection structure. Okay, so the objective of this chapter, the first one is for you to be able to understand how MATLAB interprets the relational and logical operator. Secondly, how to use the find function or find command. Third, understand the appropriate uses of the if-else family of commands. And finally, understand the switch case structure. However, in this first part video, we are going to focus on these two objectives first, where we are going to look what are the definition of relational and logical operator and how to use them, and also what are the find function and when can we use this find function. So, as an introduction, one way to think of a computer program, not just MATLAB, is actually to consider how the statements that compose it are organized. Usually, the sections of computer code can be categorized as these three categories. The first one is sequence, which is a list of commands that are executed one after another. If you look at this symbol here, so sequence here have the straight downward arrow. So whatever that you type first in MATLAB, for example, will be executed first. Okay, so next line of coding that you type will be executed next. So that is what we call a sequence structure. Second structure is called the selection or branching structure. Okay, it is called branching due to this. You see, there's a selection structure, the first arrow, where it divide into this two branch. Okay, the branch can be more than two. Okay, this is just a simple example, so we use the simple two branch. Okay, as the name suggests, during the selection structure, a selection structure allows the programmer to execute one command or a set of commands if some criteria is true. Okay, so during these branches, okay, programmer akan specify a certain set of criteria. Okay, then MATLAB will execute that specific sections, whether sections 1 or sections 2, depending whether the criteria that the programmer set is true or false. Okay, so the selection statement will provide the means of MATLAB to choose between these parts. Okay, so we are going to insert selection statement, okay, that will tell MATLAB to choose either the first criteria or the second criteria to be executed. So the selection statement is based on a logical condition. These conditions that are evaluated often contain both relational and logical operators or functions. Okay, for now, maybe you akan rasa confused lagi kan, sebab saya guna banyak terms of programming terms, especially branching, logical condition, relational and logical. Okay, is you should be confused lah right now. Okay, but never mind, later as we progress into this chapter, we are going to introduce to you more of what are the logical conditions, relational and logical operators. this slides is basically just for an introduction, okay, to show you that there are different structures in MATLAB. Okay, so although dalam MATLAB the default structure is the sequential list ni. The third structures in MATLAB is called the repetition structure, or most commonly known as loop. Okay, so looping will cause a group of statements to be executed multiple times. Okay, hence here, okay, the icons on the top here show that there's a arrow, okay, yang berpusing-pusing ni. Okay, so the number of times a loop is executed depends on either a counter or the evaluation of a logical condition. Okay, so MATLAB, berapa banyak looping atau repetition yang MATLAB akan execute is actually depends on the statements, whether you provide counter, maksud saya you bagi tahulah berapa banyak looping yang you nak MATLAB to execute, or you ask MATLAB to automatically evaluate the looping situation based on a logical condition. Okay, next, relational and logical operators. So the selection and repetition structures used in MATLAB software depend on relational and logical operators. MATLAB has 6 relational operators for comparing two matrices of equal size. Okay, so the relational operators make those comparisons, while the logical operators combine the comparisons. So here are the 6 relational operators used to make the comparisons. Okay, yang ni ke-6 relational operators that is used in MATLAB. So we have this less than symbol. If you combine the less than symbol with a equal sign, okay, this means less than or equal to, and this is the greater than. And then if you combine the greater than with an equal sign, it means greater than or equal to. And then if you combine two equal sign, okay, it means that you want to make comparison based on equal to statement. And this one, the tilde sign combined with an equal sign means not equal to. Okay, so for comparisons, the results for the comparisons are only 2. Okay, so when MATLAB make comparisons, the results is either true or false. Okay, maybe you masih ingat bila you belajar logik dalam maths ke? Okay, for example, most computer programs use the number 1 for true and 0 for false. Okay, so let's look at this example of command window figure here. Okay, let's say we define two scalar. Okay, first x equal to 5. Second scalar that we define is y equal to 1. And then we use this relational operator, the less than symbol. Okay, yang ni kita nak compare whether variable x is less than variable y. Okay, and then in command window, we can obtain the results of the comparison as 0. Okay, the 0 means that this comparison is false. Okay, in this case, variable x is not less than y. Okay, because 5 is greater than 1 kan. So bila you buat comparison 5 less than 1, then MATLAB akan give you the results as 0. So it means that this comparison is false. Okay, so let's say you did another comparison, but this time you are using this greater than symbol. Okay, so automatically command window will give you the result as 1. Okay, so this means that the results of comparison between x and y here is true because 5 is greater than 1. Okay, so what are the importance of this comparison results? Okay, because these results of comparison will be used in the selection and repetition structure to make choice. Okay, remember that in selection here, okay, so in selection normally ada dua branching. Okay, so this one is if the result is true. Okay, so bila statement ni true, MATLAB akan execute this first statement. If the result of the comparison is false, ni saya nak tulis F, so MATLAB hanya akan execute this second code of statement. Okay, dia tak akan execute kedua-duanya sekali. Okay, sebab macam mana you nak buat comparison yang the result is both true and false. Okay, MATLAB hanya akan pilih salah satu sahaja. Alright. Of course, okay, since MATLAB can represent, since the variables in MATLAB are usually represent the entire matrix, so if we redefine x and y as, okay, x here we define as a vector, okay, 1, 2, 5, and then variable y as x minus 4. Okay, so each value of x here will be minus by 4. So let's say x is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the value for variable x will be 1 minus 4. So 1 minus 4 is negative 3. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. 4 minus 4 is 0. And 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, so let's see how MATLAB handle the comparison between these matrices. Okay, the comparison that we want MATLAB to evaluate is x less than y. Okay, so MATLAB will return this answer. So we can see that MATLAB, okay, dia akan return this answer. Okay, you can try, you can key in on your MATLAB command window. So we can see that MATLAB compares corresponding elements and then create an answer matrix of zeros and ones. Okay, in this example, since x was greater than y for every comparison of elements, so every comparison was false and the answer was a string of zeros. Okay, this means that for every element here, the comparison result is false. Okay, so kita boleh check one by one. Let's say x here, the first value is 1. Is 1 less than negative 3? No. Hence, the result is 0, which is false. Its second value is 2 less than negative 2? No. So, it is false. Is 3 less than negative 1? No. 4 less than 0? No. And then, okay, so saya letak pangkah ni maksudnya false lah. Okay, is 5 less than 1? No. Okay, so that's why you get this matrix value of zeros. Okay. For this example here, let's say you redefine y as 1, 5, 3, 2, and 10. Okay, and then you make another comparison. This time you are going to use this greater than symbol. So you want to compare whether x is greater than y. So yang nombor kosong-kosong ni semua are all the comparison results that show that the comparison is false. Okay, so hanya ada satu saja true comparison, which is for the fourth element. So this one is 1, 2, 3. The fourth element is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, the fourth element is 4. So is 4 greater than 2? Yes, that's why MATLAB written 1 as the answer. For a comparison to be true for an entire matrix, it must be true for every element in the matrix. Okay, so although saya tunjuk example tadi, okay, yang second example tadi ada 4 yang ni tadi kan, ada 4 false comparison but ada 1 true comparison. But okay, in order for MATLAB to decide whether a comparison is true for an entire matrix, okay, ini special untuk entire matrix. Okay, every time okay you nak buat comparison yang involve a matrix, okay, so dia ada beberapa value lah kan, the comparison must be true for every element in the matrix. Okay, so in this case, since the results written on command window semuanya adalah satu, jadi the results comparison for the matrix X and Y here is also true because it is true for every element. Okay, tapi yang tadi previously, since hanya ada satu saja yang true, so the whole results comparison is not true. Okay, dia hanya true if the whole or the entire matrix is true. Okay, tapi kalau ada satu saja yang true, the rest is false, so the results of the comparison is also false. Okay, next, let's look at the logic operator. So the logical operator here we have and here the tilde sign we interpret as not, and then here is or, and then XOR here is the exclusive OR. So MATLAB allow us to combine comparisons with the logical operator and not and or and also exclusive or. Okay, so relational operator yang kita dah tengok tadi, the less than, greater than, equal kan, the not to sign, we can combine it with the logical operator to make comparisons. Okay, so let's see this example. We have define a variable of x, y, and z here. So x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, y is negative 2, 0, 2, 4, and 6, and then z is 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Okay, so we can combine two comparison by using this logical operator and. Okay, so here kita combine. The first comparison is whether z is greater than x and combine with z greater than y. Okay, so MATLAB will return 1, 1, 1, 1. Because Z is greater than both X and Y. Okay, this simply sebenarnya kita nak cari is Z is greater than X and Y. Okay, so the comparison is true for every element. Okay, so macam mana kita read this statement is kita read as X is greater than Y. Z is greater than both X and Y. Okay, so next we have another example. Let me clean up the ink first. Okay, this is the second comparison that we are going to do. This time we are going to combine with this OR. Okay, so make comparison. Okay, cara nak baca dia adalah is X is greater than Y or X is greater than Z. Okay, it will return these three true results for the first three elements. Okay, you can see X 1 is greater than Y. Yes, is greater than Z. No. Okay, so it is OR. Okay, so it means that the condition is true for the first three elements and false for the last two. Okay, dia akan check lah. Okay, salah satu. Okay, so X greater than Y, yes, not greater than Z. Okay, tapi dia OR, so pilih salah satu lah, either greater than Y or greater than Z. How about this false statement? False result comparison. Is X here greater than 4? No. Is X here greater than 8? No. So for the fourth elements, okay, results for these two comparison, kedua-duanya adalah false. Okay, that's why the result return as 0. Macam tu juga dengan the fifth element. Okay, 5 is less than Y and Z. So that's why it return as 0 here. Okay. Okay, so you can now see that we can use both the relational. Okay, the relational is this, the greater than symbol, the less than symbol. These are the relational. I'll show you again. Where is it? Yes. All these 6 relational operators, we can combine with these logical operators and then use it, the selection structure and loops. Okay, function dia is to tell MATLAB to determine what commands that should be executed. Okay, next is about flowcharts and pseudocode. So, with the addition of selection and repetition structure to your group of programming tools, it becomes even more important to plan your program before you start coding. Okay, so there are two common approaches that is used, okay, in this planning. This is for planning, planning you punya code or programming code. Okay, the first one is the flowcharts. Flowchart is the graphical approach to create your coding plan. And then the second one is the pseudocode, which is the verbal description of your plan. Okay, you may want to use either or both for your programming projects. Okay, so for simple programs, pseudocode may be the best or maybe the simplest planning approach. Okay, it is because pseudocode outline a set of statements describing the steps that you will take to solve a problem. Then convert these steps into commands in an M file, and then you insert the appropriate MATLAB code into the file between the command lines. Okay, let's see an example of a pseudocode. So you have been asked to create a program to convert miles per hour to feet per second. The output should be a table complete with title and column headings. Okay, so with pseudocode, here's an outline of the steps that you might follow. Okay, ni outline pseudocodes tu you just tulis outline je. Let's say first define a vector of MPH value and then convert MPH to feet per second, and then you combine the MPH and feet per second vectors into a matrix. Next, you're going to create a table title, also create column headings, and finally display the table. Okay, once you have done, you have complete with this outline, atau you dah identify all the steps that you need to do. Now you copy and paste them into an M file, and MATLAB M file as comments. Okay, nampak? Ni maksudnya kita copy all those steps yang kita dah outline kan tadi as comments. So maksudnya yang kena guna percentage sign ni lah. Okay, after that you insert the appropriate MATLAB code into the M file. Okay, so let's say the first command is define a vector. So you masukkanlah what are the appropriate code to define a vector, and then how to convert, and then combine, and then how to create a table title, and also create column headings, and then finally display the table using this fprintf. Okay, so if you put some time into your punya planning, you punya programming code, you probably won't need to change the pseudocode much. Okay, once you start programming. Okay, next we look at the flowcharts. So flowcharts alone or flowcharts combined with pseudocode are especially appropriate for more complicated programming tasks. You can create a big picture of your program graphically and then convert your project to pseudocode suitable to enter into the program as commands. Okay, before you can start flowcharting, you will need to be introduced to some of these flowcharting symbol. Okay, here are an example of flowcharting symbol for designing computer program. So we have an oval, a parallelogram, a diamond, and a rectangles. Okay, each have different meaning. An oval usually used to indicate the beginning of or the end of a section of code. This parallelogram used to indicate input or output. And then we have a diamond. Diamond usually indicate a decision point. Okay, usually decision lah, whether sini dia ada selection lah kan, yang kita buat relational tu, is it true? Kalau true, keluar kat sini. Kalau false, keluar kat sini ke? This is an example. And then here are what are the calculations normally are placed in rectangles. Okay, let's see here. This figure is an example of a flowchart for the conversion, sama macam pseudocode tadi, conversion of miles per hour to feet per second. Okay, so especially this sebenarnya because this problem is actually pretty simple. Okay, normally kita tak perlu pun create flowchart. However, as the problems become more complicated, flowcharts will become a valuable tool. Okay, allowing you to organize your thoughts. Okay, so yang tadi kan, yang outline tadi tu kita susun dalam flowchart punya simbol lah. Okay, so oval here indicate the start and end of a code section. Okay, and then this rectangle all the steps lah, calculations, define a vector, calculate, and then combine to table. And then this parallelogram often indicates input and outputs. Okay, so once you have created you punya flowchart, you should transfer your idea into command lines in an M file. Okay, ni just baru create flowchart dia, sama macam bila kita create outline tadi tu. Ni baru outline je, tak siap lagi you punya coding kan, programming coding tu tak ada lagi. Okay, so kalau pseudocode you dah ada outline and then you transfer dalam M file commands. Sama juga dengan flowchart. Okay, bila you dah siap this flowchart, okay, you transfer everything dalam you punya simbol ni, okay, dalam rectangle ke parallelogram ni ke, copy ke dalam M file, okay, sebagai comments. Okay, and then masukkan je lah coding appropriate code yang sesuai. Okay, sebab ni comment kan, kalau you tak masukkan dia punya code atau what are the steps to execute, okay, programming you tak ada lah, kosong. Okay, just comment je. Okay, so remember that both flowcharts and pseudocode are tools, okay, that is intended to help you to create a better computer programs. They can also be used effectively to illustrate the structure of a program to non-programmers, since they emphasize the logical progression of ideas to programming details. Okay, so for non-programmers, okay, maybe the flow charts ni akan bagi mereka more sense lah. Dia lebih faham lah of you punya programming code. Okay, bila dia dapat tengok this flow chart, dia tahulah mana start, bila nak end. Okay, whatever happen in between the code. Okay, that's why it is a graphical approach. Right. Okay, let's look at the logical functions. Okay, so MATLAB offers traditional programming selection structure. Okay, yang ni saya dah tunjukkan sebelum ni. Buka belum? Oh, tadi tu hanya, okay, never mind. So, for logical functions, logic atau selection structure, okay, MATLAB ada 3. If, else and switch case. Okay, the primary logical function is find, okay, which can often be used in place of both traditional selection structure and loops, okay. And a series of logical functions that perform many of the same tasks. Okay, dia ada beberapa selection structure, tapi yang paling apa maksudnya? Traditional lah, ataupun yang paling simple is the this one, find functions. Okay, ataupun find command. Okay, find command searches a matrix and then identify which elements in that matrix meet a given criteria. Okay, let's say for example, the US Naval Academy require applicants to be at least 5 feet 6 inches tall. So we have this list of applicant heights. Okay, yang ni semua dalam inci, 63, 67, 65, 72, 69, 78 and 75. So you're going to find which applicants meet the criteria. So in your punya MATLAB, okay, so we are going to start with this editor file, M file. So kita buat comments ni, okay, untuk bantu you lah fahamkan. Ni kalau kita tiba-tiba letak vector height ni, nanti tak faham pula ni height apa kan. Okay, kita buat comment lah, define the vector of heights and then create the vector of heights, and then we are going to use the find command to determine which values are greater than or equal to 66. Okay, the criteria, okay, kita dah convert at least criteria ni 5 feet 6 inches ni kita dah convert to all inches. Okay, so untuk jadi Navy lah kan, semua applicants ni kena at least 66 inches. Okay, so accept ni adalah kita nak store value yang pas, okay, yang 66, yang greater than or equal to 66 inches. Okay, kita akan store dia dalam variable accept. Okay, and then use find command. Okay, open bracket, height. Height ni referring to this variable name of this vector of heights. Okay, and then this is the comparison that we are going to do. Okay, height greater than or equal to 66. Okay, and then this command will returns, dekat command window, dia akan returns as this 2, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, apa maksudnya? Okay, padahal dekat height ni tak ada pun nombor 2, 4, 5, 6 dan 7 kan. Okay, it is because find function will return the index number from the matrix that meet the criteria. So if you want to know the actual heights you can call each element using the index number. Okay, ni adalah maksudnya index number lah. Maksudnya yang kedua, yang keempat, yang kelima, yang keenam, yang ketujuh. Okay, index number from the matrix. Okay, ni bukan jawapan dia. Okay, ni hanya dia beritahu position. Okay, yang kedua, elemen yang kedua, elemen yang keempat, elemen yang kelima, keenam dan ketujuh yang pas kriteria of greater than or equal to 66. Okay, so alternatively, okay, macam mana you nak keluarkan dia punya actual height values tu? Okay, so you boleh call each element, okay, height, except, ni sini kita akan call each element. supaya kita tahu berapakah nilai ketinggian yang accepts to be a navy tu. Okay, so with this command, MATLAB akan return the actual height values, okay, of the applicants that pass the criteria, okay, which is the 67, 72, 69, 78 and 75. You can also determine which applicants do not meet the criteria, okay. This one, okay, line yang ke-7 ni, decline find height less than 66 because accept should be greater than or equal. So less than 66 adalah yang decline, applicants that will be declined. Okay, this is, remember, this is the index number, which is applicant number 1 and applicant number 3. Okay, so similarly, you boleh keluarkan value dia lah by calling the height and then decline. Nanti you akan dapat lah value height yang declines. Okay, so you can also create a more readable report using display and fprint functions. Okay, so caranya adalah you tengok dekat line number 8 and number 9 here. So display, dia akan display all these statements, and then fprintf, this is the formatted output. So kita nak dia printed this statement as candidate number berapa. Okay, kita letak placeholder kat sini. So number ni dia akan merujuk kepada index number tadilah. Okay, is, and then this is the values. Okay, so yang the first placeholder ni dia akan refer to the accept vector. So accept vector tadi ni dia keluarkan index number tadi kan, index. Okay, so height accept ni bila kita nak keluarkan dia punya actual height. Okay, so you akan tengok dekat command window, okay, akan print out like this. Okay, sebab ada 5 yang pass, so akan ada 5 line macam ni. Okay, so clearly you could also make a table of those who do not meet the height requirement. Okay, nak buat table pun boleh. Okay, guna display and fprintf function. Okay, caranya adalah, okay, kita tunjuk dekat MATLAB kita. Okay, here to create a table. Okay, tadi ni kita dah list macam ni kan. To create a table, what we can do is kita type this code. Dulu height requirement fprintf. Okay, tengok kita guna fprintf, candidate decline height. Okay, this one, and then run. Oh, kejap, saya lupa nak keluarkan decline punya vector here. Alright, so here you tengok, this one is a table of those that do not meet the requirement. Okay, so yang the first one ni yang meet the height requirement, the second one is that do not meet the height requirement. Okay. Okay, so here is another example where we can combine both relational and logical operators to create a more complicated search criteria. Okay, so suppose you have a data of applicants age and height. So the criteria is the applicants must be at least 18 years old and less than 35 years old. Okay, on top of that, the applicants also must meet the height requirement, which is the previous requirement greater than or equal to 66 inch. So here are the data of height and age of each applicant. So to create a program, okay, for this example, we're going to use the pseudocode approach. Okay, first create a 7x2 matrix of applicant height and age information. Next, we're going to use the find command to determine which applicants are eligible. And finally, we use the fprintf command to create a table of results. So here is an example of what you will write on your M file or editor file. Okay, so tiga-tiga outline from pseudocode ni kita akan paste dia as comment. So yang hijau ni lah. Okay, and then following the outline, okay, kita akan add up appropriate code. For example, here the first line kita nak create applicants height and age matrix kan. So you define lah the matrix of applicants height and age. Okay, yang ni kita buat dua. Okay, ada dua set of data lah. Age dengan height dengan age. Okay, yang semicolon ni is to indicate a new line. Okay, next we are going to use the find command kan. Okay, to determine. Okay, so the first pass. Okay, maybe it's better kalau saya tunjukkan the okay, so here, okay, use the find command. So the pass criteria, okay, kita store di dalam variable pass is first use find from applicants matrix here. Okay, all row but the first column. Okay, let's see, saya nak tunjukkan applicants matrix ni. Okay, kita tengok dekat sini for applicants, the first column ni untuk height data kan. Okay, for find applicants all row from first column is height that greater than or equal to 66, and then kita tambah, kita combine with this n. Okay, applicants for second column, okay, the data should be greater than or equal to 18 and below 35. Okay, that's why yang ni second column ni nombor 2 ni sama, because for the second column, okay, applicants should fulfill these two criteria. Okay, less than, greater than 18 and below 35. Okay, next. Okay, bila kita run that pass, okay, find command akan return this 246. This is index numbers. Okay, menunjukkan the element. Okay, so maksudnya elemen yang kedua dan keempat dan juga keenam yang memenuhi ketiga-tiga kriteria ini. Okay, so we can create a more meaningful or nicer output, okay, if we use the fprintf command. Okay, so to do that, first we group our results here. We group our results into a table. Okay, so that's why this is a table of results. Okay, results yang dari pass ni, okay, kita nak keluarkan dia punya number. Okay, so kita buat table. So result, this is a table of matrix lah. Okay, so the first row, okay, the first row is the pass index number. Second row is applicants which pass the first criteria, and then third row is applicants that pass the second criteria. Okay, so ni applicants pass from first column yang atas ni lah. Ini applicants pass second column. Okay, and then yang ni adalah kita transpose. Okay, kalau kita tak transpose, results kita, table of results ni akan jadi macam ni kan. Lepas tu bila kita guna fprintf command ni, result kita tertulis macam ni lah, sebab dia follow daripada results kan. So tak nak macam tu. So kita transpose dia and then run semula. And then by using fprintf command, so ni statement dia lah, and then number, dalam number ni dia akan letak placeholder lah. So kita ada 1, 2, 3 placeholder here, and then each line ni akan start on a new line sebab kita specify NA, dash NA, and then all the data ni untuk placeholder ni dia akan dapat daripada results, data di results ni. Okay, so for example, untuk first placeholder ni adalah this one, 2, and then second placeholder ni dia akan follow through lah, 4, 6. Okay, so dia akan baca untuk fprintf ni, dia akan baca start dari 2 ni turun ke bawah. Maksudnya applicant nombor 2, first placeholder is untuk this one, untuk this first place. Second placeholder is for this one, and then third placeholder here is for this one. Okay, so dia akan repeat lah sampai habis data results ni dia baca and print out to command window. Okay, so the find command can return either a single index number identifying an element in a matrix. Okay, ni apa yang kita dah tunjukkan selama ni lah kan. Find command hanya return index number je, bukan results atau whatever the actual value yang kita nak cari. Okay, what if you have a matrix of row and columns, and the column numbers identifying an element in a matrix. Okay, so you need to specify 2 results if you want the row and column designation. Okay, this is the syntax how you can specify 2 results, because when using find command, you hanya akan dapat result dia as satu je, single index number. Okay, so imagine that you have a matrix of patient temperature values measured in a clinic. Okay, so these are the table of data. So the column represent the number of the station where the temperature was taken. So kita ada 1, 2, 3 column here. So it represents the number of the station where the temperature was taken. Okay, and then dalam ni semua adalah temperature values lah. Okay, first we define the temperature matrix. Okay, temperature matrix, ni semua matrix of temperature, and then ni new lines like this. Okay, these are the results, and then this element find temperature greater than 98.6. Okay, these elements refer to the single index number identification scheme. Okay, so kita nak cari temperature for patients, okay, that is greater than 98.6. Okay, yang lebih tinggi daripada 98.6 ni Fahrenheit lah. Okay, so kita guna find here, tapi the results of the find operation here is stored in element variable. Okay, so element variable here returns the element number for the single index representation. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 8. So apa maksud 3, 4, 5, 6 and 8 ni? So it is actually the element number for this matrix. Okay, tapi macam mana kita nak tahu which one is 3? Macam mana 1, 2, 3 ni? Yang mana satu elemen yang ketiga kan, sebab kita ada matrix. So yang mana satu elemen yang ketiga, yang mana satu elemen keempat. Okay, so when when the find command is used with a 2-dimensional matrix like this, it use an element numbering scheme that works down each column one at a time. Okay, for example, okay, dia akan rate, ni cara dia baca lah. Okay, cara MATLAB baca keluarkan result elemen ni. Okay, so dia akan, ni satu, kolom pertama, kolom kedua dan kolom ketiga. So numbering system dia start daripada atas ke bawah, lepas tu sambung second column top to down, and then sambung third column from top to down. Okay, so in this case, ni kan, ni matrix kita kan, matrix 2D. So elemen number 3 adalah baca ke bawah 1, 2, 3, and then start sini 4, 5, 6. This one is yang ke-7. This one is elemen yang ke-8. Okay, so here yang merah 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, you can tengok yang bold value ni are the element that contain values greater than 98.6. Okay, so in order to determine the row and column numbers, we need to use this syntax. Okay, maksudnya you kena identify dua output, okay, to determine the row and column number. Otherwise, kalau you determine satu je output, okay, dia hanya akan keluarkan single index number macam ni je lah. Okay, so when you specify two outputs to determine the row and column numbers using this syntax, okay, MATLAB will give us this following row and columns number. Okay, untuk row dia akan bagi tahu which row numbers, and column dia akan bagi tahu which column numbers. Okay, and then we can use these numbers to identify the elements, okay, as shown here in this figure. Okay, row yang ketiga. Okay, so ini row, ini kolom, 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 kolom 1, kolom 2, kolom 3, ini row 1, row 2, and row 3. Okay, row 3, 1, 2, 3, kolom number 1. Okay, this one. And then row 1, column number 2, row 2, column 2, row 3, column 2, row 2, column 3. These are all the values that have temperature greater than 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, next we are going to use the fprintf command so that we can create a more readable report. Okay, because previously apa yang appear dalam command window kita hanyalah ni kan, index number je, atau yang menunjukkan elemen number je. Okay, which number of elements dalam ni kita tak tahu. Bukan kita tak tahu tau, kita tahulah kalau kita baca kan, tapi MATLAB ni tak mengeluarkan value number, value temperature yang lebih tinggi daripada 98.6 tu. Okay, jadi kita boleh keluarkan value tu dengan menggunakan fprintf command. Okay, dia macam printer lah. Okay, so the data tu dah already store dalam MATLAB punya workspace window kan. Okay, so ni kita tambah fprintf command. Okay, so dia akan appear statement like this lah. Patient 1, 2, 3 add station number, ni satu placeholder, 2 placeholder, and then this is the third placeholder. Okay, so the first one ni dia akan refer to the number of row. Second one ni dia akan refer to the number of column, and then the third placeholder ni, okay, third placeholder. Okay, yang dua ni dia akan read result daripada column. Yang first one ni dia akan read result from the row. So that's why you run, you akan dapat station 3 at station 1 had a temperature. Okay, nampak lebih senang nak faham lah. Okay, So for find commands, okay, this is an example of flowchart and pseudocode untuk find commands. Okay, so here we have what flowcharts of sequence of commands as shown here on the left side here. Okay, so let's say we have a vector of x values, okay, x1, 2, 3, 10, 5, 1, 12, 3, 2 and 8, 3, 1. And next, okay, this is when we set the criteria. Okay, so we are going to use the find command to find the index number of the values in x greater than 9. Okay, so find the index number of the values that is greater than 9. Okay, so that's why find x greater than 9, and then use that index number to find the x values greater than 9 by plugging them into x. So values x ni dia akan bagi kita index number kan, so kita plugging kan dia punya value of index number dalam x ni, so kita akan dapatlah the value of x. And then we're going to create an output table by using the display and fprintf command. Okay, so let's see in MATLAB. So this is where kita define vector of x, and then this is the criteria. Criteria kita adalah find value of x that is greater than 9. Okay, yang ni kita plugging dia and then create an output table. Okay, so we can see here when kita run this code. Okay, so element start daripada atas ni So element these are the single index number. Okay, 2 and 3. Okay, so daripada vector ni, okay, matrix x ni, okay, 1, 2, 3, 10, 5, 1, 12, 3, 2 and 8, 3, 1, hanya elemen yang kedua dan ketiga saja yang value x dia adalah greater than 9. Okay, elemen yang kedua adalah 10 dan yang ketiga adalah 12. Okay, untuk keluarkan value tu, okay, you boleh plug, masukkan index number tu dalam x. Okay, so these are the values x, and then masukkan elemen yang keluar kat sini kita dapat previously kan, so that's why kita dapat dua value which is 10 and 12. Okay, next output table kita guna display, so dia akan display the first line element greater than 9, the second line element number value and then di fprintf. Okay, so bawah elemen number ni letak number dia lah, value ni 10, 12. Okay, kalau kita tengok dia macam lari sikit kan, 10, 12 ni dia macam ke kiri sikit, maybe kita nak tolak dia ke kanan sikit, kita tambah je space kat sini. Okay, nampak dia pun moving. Okay, nampak better lah, okay, on the visual. Alright, so that's it for find command.